Hello and welcome. Today we're talking about the part 2 to the gallbladder. So we're going to be discussing gallbladder 20 all the way to 44. For the beginning parts of the channel information, and gallbladder channel 1 through 19, please watch part 1 to the gallbladder lecture. Okay, so gallbladder 20. It is the meeting point of the gallbladder and the Sanjiao, and the yang motility and yang linking vessels. Below the occiput, approximately midway between due 16 and gallbladder 12, in the hollow between the origins of the SCM and trapezius muscle. Here's our visual. So basically what I like to do is find that external occiput protuberance, the bump on the back of the head, roll right underneath it, and then palpate on the lateral edges to find that edge of the skull. Right? So that makes sure that you're lined up with due16. Go out lateral 2.25 to get that GB line. Make sure it lines up. This is just a reference slide showing you the lower border of the occiput, the SCM, first palpable spinous process, and then finally at the end, the trapezius superior fibers. Eliminates when, benefits the head and eye, clears the sense organs, and then activates the channel, alleviates pain. Everything we see here is either going to be pain, clearing the sense organs, or benefits the heads and eyes. Everything. 21. 21 is the midpoint from due 14, found on the lower border of C7, and the tip of the acromion, and the crest of the trapezius muscle. It is also the meeting point of the gallbladder, Sanjiao, stomach channels, and the yang linking vessel. And there's our visual. C7, the lower border is C7, all the way to the tip of the acromion, halfway in between gives us our 21. That's just a reference slide. Regulates qi, activates the channel, alleviates pain, transforms and lowers phlegm, dissipates nodules, benefits the breasts, and expedites delivery. Now it's important to know that this point is actually counterindicated for delivery, for pregnancy. It's counterindicated for pregnancy, unless they're in the last couple days of their pregnancy and they have a difficult or prolonged labor. Gallbladder 21 has a very strong downward motion. So in that case, because they're having a prolonged or difficult labor, you can actually alleviate that by needling gallbladder 21, and that's that strong down-buried motion actually causes them to have birth. Gallbladder 22. On the mid-axillary line in the 5th intercostal space, approximately 3 suns superior to the apex of the axilla at the level of the nipple. Regulates qi and binds the chest and benefits the axilla. If you just wait one more slide, I'll actually show you where this slide is actually, where these 2 points are located. 22 and 23 are right next to each other. 23 is the meeting point of the gallbladder and bladder channels, below the axilla in the 5th intercostal space, 1 sun anterior to gallbladder 22, approximately at the level of the nipple, which is regulates chest, unbinds the chest, regulates qi, unbinds the chest, benefits the axilla, just like what 22 has done. And there it is. 1 sun in front. 22 and 23. And notice in my slides it says the 5th intercostal space. Well, the nipple is actually located in the 4th intercostal space, so that's a typo. It's going to be in the 4th intercostal space. Unbinds the chest, lowers rebellion, regulates qi in the 3 jiaos. Everything we see here is all about qi being stagnant in the 3 jiaos. The thing that pops out to me is the sighing and tendency to sadness. That's really bad qi stagnation in one of the middle jiaos. The meeting point, gallbladder 24 is the meeting point of the gallbladder and spleen channel. It's also the front mu of the bladder, the gallbladder itself. It's in the 7th intercostal space, directly below the nipple, four-soon lateral to the midline. And it doesn't look like I have a picture of that one. Sorry about that. Benefits the gallbladder, spreads liver qi, lowers rebellious qi, harmonizes the middle jiao, and resolves damp heat. 25. 25 is the front mu of the kidneys. It's at the free end of the 12th rib, right? It's below the lateral aspect of the rib cage, anterior and inferior to the free end of the 12th rib. There it is. This is just a palpation reference. Same thing with this. It's also a palpation reference, but it also shows you how that gallbladder channel kind of winds its way around the lateral aspect. That's a reference slide showing you the free end of the 12th rib versus the location of liver 13 and how you actually needle it. Its action is tonifies the kidneys, regulates the waterways, fortifies the spleen, regulates the intestines, and strengthens the lumbar region. Everything we see here is that. Tonifying the kidneys, fortifying the spleens, and strengthening the lumbar region. So, now we're talking about the daimai. The daimai is made up of some points on the gallbladder channel, 26, 27, 28, 29. Those points make up the bulk of the daimai. The master point is Sanjiao 5. The couple point is gallbladder 41. Whenever you need those 2 points in that sequence, it tells the body that you need access to the daimai. Directly below liver 13, anterior and inferior to the free end of the 11th rib, level with the umbilicus. There's our slide. There's a little cheat in here. The tip of the acroleon resting on the free end of your 11th rib. So whenever you take your elbow and just simply place it right here on the ribs, where the tip of the acroleon actually rests is your 11th rib. Regulates the daimai, drains dampness, regulates menstruation, stops the chorea, activates the channel, alleviates pain. Everything we see here is either related to the daimai, dampness, or menstruation. Gallbladder 27, the meeting point of the gallbladder and the daimai. In the depression just anterior to the anterior superior iliac spine, approximately level with Rin 4. So it's another way to check, right? If you know where Rin 4 is, come down Rin 4, 3 soon below the umbilicus, match that up with the lateral aspect of gallbladder 27, and make sure they match. Self-check. Here's our visual, 3 soon from the umbilicus. Gives us that Rin point, goes straight out till we hit the edge of the anterior superior iliac spine. Regulates the daimai, regulates the lower jiao, transforms stagnation. Brings us to 28. 28 is half a soon anterior and inferior to gallbladder 27. Usually what I do is I use my thumb, half of my thumb gives me the below, and then half over this way. Here's our visual. Regulates the daimai, regulates the lower jiao, transforms stagnation. The thing that stands out with this one is no pleasure in eating. There is so much stagnation in the lower jiao that they cannot get pleasure from eating. So if they tell you that, you know what point to use. It's literally one of 3 points that has that indication. No pleasure in eating. 29. 29 is the meeting point of the gallbladder and the yang motility vessel on the lateral aspect of the hip joint at the midway of a line drawn between the anterior superior iliac spine and the prominence of the greater trochanter. Just like that. What I usually do is I palpate, find the anterior iliac spine, find the high point of the greater trochanter. Halfway in between those two gives us our gallbladder 29. Activates the channel, alleviates pain, benefits the hip joint. So everything that we see here is all about alleviates pain in the channel or the actual hip joint itself. You're going to use this a lot because it's very common in our society to have hip replacements. And the number one byproduct of those replacements, whether it's a knee or a hip, is this: cold trapped in the tissue. Gallbladder 30. Gallbladder 30 is the meeting point of the gallbladder and the UB channel. It's also a Ma Da Yang heavenly star point on the posterior lateral aspect of the hip joint. 1/3 of the distance between the prominence of the greater trochanter and the sacral coccygeal hiatus, or due to. Just like this. You can actually visualize where that sacral hiatus is versus where that greater trochanter is. You're going to find the halfway point, break it into thirds. The lower 1/3 from the greater trochanter going toward the sacral hiatus is gallbladder 30. Activates the channel, alleviates pain, benefits the hip joint and leg, dispels wind dampness. This is one of the most important points for a hip replacement, especially if that wind cold gets stuck in the tissue. If that wind cold is still there after they've had the surgery, it's going to cause all these indications that you're looking at. Inability to flex and extend the knee, contraction and pain of the thigh and the knee, pain in the lumbar region, lateral costal region. If there's just wind damp stuck in the tissue, they're going to have urticaria or eczema. 31. On the lateral aspect of the thigh, directly below the greater trochanter, 7 soon superior to the popliteal crease. It's where the middle finger makes contact to the IT band when they're relaxed. That's the easiest way to find this. Eliminates wind, alleviates itching, activates the channel, alleviates pain. So everything we see here is all about the urticaria, itching of the whole body, or if it's wind, you have the heaviness, the weakness and feebleness of the legs, heavy sensation of the legs with difficulty in sitting. 32. 32 is too soon inferior to 31. Just like that. Boom. Expels wind, damp and cold, alleviates the channel, alleviates pain. This is all about atrophy disorders and a painful obstruction of the lower limbs, painful obstruction of the numbness, numbness with hemiplegia, sciatica, pain of the back and hip, cold chi residing in the muscles and sinews. Remember what I mentioned a couple slides ago about that cold being trapped in the tissue after they come out of the operating room? There it is. Right there. Boom. (33) On the lateral side of the knee, any depression above the lateral epicondyle of the femur between the femur and the tendon biceps femoris. It makes more sense if I just show you the picture. There it is. And so what I did was I gave you a visual, but then when you actually go to the next slide, I gave you a location note. So basically what you want to do is you want to palpate slightly above the knee joint Run a finger down the lateral aspect of the thigh in the groove between the femur and the tendon of biceps femoris until the finger falls into the depression just proximal to the lateral epicondyle of the femur, which is that. Expels, relaxes the sinews and benefits the joints. Dispels when damp. So everything about this point is either going to be the when damp or relax the sinews, benefit the joint. 34. 34 is the meeting point of sinews, or the command point of sinews. It's also the Ma Da Yang heavenly star point. Below the lateral aspect of the knee, in the tender depression, proximal 1 sun inferior and inferior to the head of the fibia. Right there. Benefits the sinews and joints, activates the channel and alleviates pain, spreads liver qi, benefits the lateral costal region, clears the liver and gallbladder damp heat, harmonizes the sanjiao, which is sanjiao and the gallbladder. It does a lot. Everything is a reflection of those actions. If you have any questions, please read the commentary in Deadman, then bring those questions to the class. Gallbladder 35 is the sheet cleft of the yang linking vessel. It's on the lateral aspect of the lower leg, 7 sun superior to the prominence of the lateral malleolus and depression at the posterior border of the fibia. So from gallbladder 34 to the high point of the lateral malleolus is 14 sun. You break that 14 sun in half, that gives us a 7 sun. 7 sun is gallbladder 35. Activates the channel, alleviates pain, regulates gallbladder qi, and calms the spirit. Everything we see here is a reflection of those actions. Everything. Because it's a sheet cleft of the yang, that's why it has all these abilities to moderate acute pain conditions. 36. 35 and 36 are at the exact same level. Just like your Sanjiao 6 and 7. It just this one is 7 superior to lateral malleolus, but on the anterior border of the fibia. See? Straight line, 35 and 36. Activates the channel, alleviates pain, clears heat, and detoxifies poison. It's one of 3 different acupuncture points in the body that detoxifies poison. Now, does that mean it can actually help somebody with rabies? Absolutely. Does it mean it can help somebody who's got bit by a rattlesnake? A little bit. Obviously, if you got bit by a rattlesnake, you still need to go to the doctor's office. You still got to go to the ER, because that snake venom will actually cause necrosis of the tissue. Super important you guys understand that. Just because it detoxifies poison doesn't mean it's a substitute to emergency medicine. 37. 37 is also referred to as bright light because it has an ability to brighten the eyes. So we're going to see a lot of the first indications having to do with the eyes. On the lateral aspect of the lower leg, 5 sun superior to the prominence of the lateral malleolus at the anterior border of the fibia. 9 sun down or 5 up. Whichever way you go, I always go 5 up. Reference, reference, reference. Benefits the eyes. Dispels when damp, activates the channel, alleviates pain. Eye pain, night blindness, itching of the eyes, long-sightedness, short-sightedness. Boom. It's all about eyes. 38. 38's on the lateral aspect of the lower leg, 4 sun superior to the prominence of the lateral malleolus at the anterior border of the fibia. Right there. Clears gallbladder channel heat, harmonizes the Xiao Yang, benefits the sinews and bones, activates the channel, alleviates pain. Everything you see is a reflection of all that. 39. The meeting point of the marrow. Above the ankle joint, 3 sun superior to the prominence of the lateral malleolus, between the posterior border of the fibula and the tendons of pronus, longus, and brevis. 3 soon up. Benefits the sinews and bones, benefits the neck, dispels when damp, clears gallbladder fire, activates the channel, alleviates pain. Which brings us to the source point of the gallbladder, gallbladder 40. At the ankle joint, any depression anterior and inferior to the lateral malleolus. This is just a reference slide showing you the location of liver 3, which is the exact opposite. So this is the slide that we need to take a look at. The anterior border of the lateral malleolus. Spreads liver qi and clears gallbladder heat and damp heat. Activates the channel, alleviates pain, and benefits the joints. Regulates the Xiaoyang. So everything we see here is a reflection of its actions. One-sided headache, that's a reflection of its ability to alleviate pain in the channel. Distension and pain of the chest and lateral costal regions with the inability to catch the breath. Sighing, that's a representation of spreading the liver qi and clearing gallbladder heat. Gallbladder 41. 41 is the Shu stream, and it's also the confluent or coupling point of the daimai. If you're going to open the daimai, you have to do the master point, Sanjiao 5, followed by gallbladder 41. Any depression distal to the junction of the 4th and 5th metatarsal bone on the lateral side of the tendon, M extensor digitorum longus. Right there. Spreads liver qi, benefits the chest, lateral costal region and breasts, clears the head, benefits the eyes, transforms phlegm, dissipates nodules. 42 is on the other side of the tendon. Between the 4th and 5th metatarsal bones, any depression proximal to the metatarsal heads on the medial side of the tendon, M extensor digitorum longus. Spreads liver qi, clears gallbladder heat. That's it. 43 is the yin spring between the 4th toe and the little toe. 0.5 soon proximal to the margin of the web. Clears heat and benefits the head, ears, and eyes. Clears damp heat from the channel and reduces swelling. 44. 44 is the Jing well and the middle point of the gallbladder channel. On the dorsal aspect of the 4th toe, at the junction of lines drawn between or along the lateral border of the nail and the base of the nail, approximately 0.1 soon from the corner of the nail. There's our visual. Clears and benefits the head, benefits the chest and lateral costal region, calms the shin, subdues liver yang, clears heat, benefits the temporal region, and revives consciousness. And that's it for today. All right, so please review, read your commentary, do your reading, and bring any questions that you may have directly to class. See you guys on Tuesday.